All right, so we got 10 o'clock. I'm going to get started. So welcome to the deep dive. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to participate and show up. This one, I'm going to talk to you about the 3 fast attack leadership keys that you need to lead in this new disruptive world. And I really hearken back to my time in the submarine force, where we basically had a distributed team. We had 11 people who were here in the control room. And then we had everyone else who was located remotely throughout the entire 300-foot expanse of the submarine. And we had to be able to communicate at speed. And how we were able to do that is that we had fast attack leadership skills. And we were able to use those skills to be successful, and then also to be able to handle tremendous disruption that happened. So those fast attack leadership skills and the tools and the framework that we had set up is what allowed us to create an E3 culture, a very strong culture where we could communicate at speed, where we could be successful gathering the intelligence and completing the missions that we needed to complete, but also be able to adjust and adapt and be extremely agile at speed. So what we're going to do is, you're going to see on the screen here, and I'm just going to put it in the chat, is we're going to have you participate in this very much. We love getting your feedback and your insights into what's going on. So if we take a look at on the screen, if you're watching this on your phone, Anya's going to put this also in the chat. She's going to put the link in the chat, but you're going to go to a place called menti.com, and then we're going to give you a code that you can enter. We're going to try to get the feedback of what's going on specifically for you, and then see how that looks for everybody who's on the call today. So you can either use this QR code, or again, Anya's got to put in the chat. Just click on that and go there. And then up at the top of the screen here, you're going to see a code. It's 726954. So 72619543. It's an 8-digit code, 7269543. What we would like you to do is just type in, what are your biggest challenges you're having as it relates to hybrid work? What are the biggest challenges that you're experiencing as a leader, as a manager, as it relates to hybrid work? And Anya put it there in the chat, the code. So 72619543. Yes, people want to work hybrid. Communication, okay, good. And you can see these are coming up on the screen as they're being typed in. Not feeling connected, communication's hard. Good. Let's see if there's any others. How to stay connected, accountability twice. All right. Yes, half of the people are remote, but then half of the people in the company are manufacturing. Culture is a challenge. Just give another 30 seconds here. Staying connected, not wanting to go remote. Okay, so that's good. Yeah, and these are a lot of the challenges that CEOs are having. Flexible days. Okay, fantastic. So look, those are some big hybrid challenges that you're having. And I believe that, I'm going to show you this next, what people are really struggling with leadership-wise is the ability to do all these things and stay connected. So when we look at what it looks like from a leadership perspective, hybrid is one of the biggest challenges that people are having. Let me just get to the next slide. And here's, they asked CEOs this, and this just recently came out in the last 2 weeks, is what are the biggest challenges that you're looking at? Number one is thinking about new products and services that they can offer. Number two is getting the executive team on the same page. So 21%, then 24% is about finding the right talent. And then one of the number one challenges that CEOs are dealing with now is, how do we work well remotely? And what I can tell you is that 3 months ago, employee engagement scores came out from Gallup, and it's the first time in 10 years that employee engagement dropped. And it didn't just drop, I mean, it plummeted. All right, so here's another one. If you stay on Menti, what you're going to see is what we'd like to have you type in is your current hybrid offering. So you can either choose, you're either fully on site, you're hybrid, like 2 or more office days per week, or you're fully remote. Why don't you type in and choose which of these you are. So which one are you? So you go to menti.com again, you can just go back to that same place. This should be up right there. And you can, if you're just joining us, we're menti.com and you're putting the code 72619543. So why don't you just choose which one are you? I'd like to understand which one you are.
The question is still in hybrid challenges on my end.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Okay, just hold on a second. So do you guys see it now, Anya?
Perfect. Yep.
Okay, sorry about that. We love technology. We love to leverage it. There you go. Good. Okay, so just choose which one are you? Are you fully on site? Are you hybrid 2 or more days? Are you fully remote? Which one are you? Oh, we got thirds right now. Fully on site. Okay, good. Oh wow, fully remote. Okay, and you guys can see this on the screen as fast as I can see it of what's being typed in. So what it looks like is we have a mix here, which is fantastic. But it looks like a majority are fully on site. Looks like about 22% are hybrid, 2 or more days a week in the office, and then looks like about 1/3 are fully remote. So let's go to what is actually happening. This just came out 3 days ago. Here's what's happening in the entire United States. These are the other companies that are fighting for the same talent that you're fighting for. 37% are fully on site. Only 2% are fully remote. And then hybrid is the majority, 2 or more days per week in the office. So these are statistics from all across the United States. Again, it gives you a good understanding of where companies are and what they're doing. So I wanted to find out some expert advice on, hybrid working and remote working, work from home. And so I went to Madam Tatiana because she could probably give us the best understanding of what's going to happen in the future. And, for the last 15 months, I've been asked, hey, Mark, what's the hybrid strategy? What's the work from home strategy? And I can tell you, a lot of things and a lot of programs have been put in place, but then they've just been adjusted, and we're all learning this as we go. But there is one thing extremely serious that I do want to say is that don't confuse being in the office equating to your culture. I think so many of us have equated that. Now, certainly the interactions, the human-to-human interactions that happen within inside the office, really important to help you build your culture. But your true test is when everyone had to go and work remote, was did the culture go with those people or did it stay at the office? And were the people left without that culture? So this is something that I think is a great test. You can reflect upon it for yourself in your specific situation, but being in the office doesn't equal culture. And here's the thing, hybrid work is here to stay. There's no doubt a lot of the statistics that have come out have shown that hybrid workers are the most engaged workers that you have. And, you know, we're not going to unscramble this egg. This is, if you're not doing this yourself, these are companies that are, a lot of companies are offering this, and you just got to be aware that employees and talent really are looking for this. And, you know, I say this all the time, you know, the companies that are going to win now are the ones that make the most smart decisions the fastest. And I put an asterisk there, regardless of where they are working. Okay, so let's get into the top challenges that we're seeing as it relates to hybrid work from our perspective at Lead with Purpose. Number one is employees are disconnected. Again, employee engagement dropped for the first time in 10 years. It didn't just drop, it plummeted. And we've all heard of the term quiet quitting and what's happening there. So employees being away from the office, they're being more disconnected. Here's a recent study done by Bain, and I wanted to find out what the engagement levels were based upon what level of the organization that you're in. And what they found is that the top level leadership team is 85% engaged. And they found anyone below that was only 15% engaged. So if we think about this, you know, the top leadership team, connected, fully engaged, has resiliency, has purpose, but if that message isn't really clear down below, it can be a real struggle for you. And this is being played out, and these results right here, you know, speak to that. And that's number one, purposeful work deeper in the organization. People don't really understand how what they do today connects to making a difference. Second is, you probably heard of the Great Resignation, but that's also caused the Great Reassessment. And so here's some statistics that 67% of employees are reflecting on whether they are doing purposeful work. Now, when everyone was scattered to the wind in March of 2020, they all got sent home with their computer. They were told to set up their work office on their kitchen table or somewhere in their house. And then they were isolated from being away from the office. And so a lot of them where culture was really at. And then the challenge is when the office wasn't there anymore, then the culture was gone. And so, you know, a lot of people were sitting there stuck with just their JOB and evaluating, hey, do I really get satisfaction out of what I'm doing? So 67% are reflecting upon purposeful work being super, super important. And then 50%, because of that, they intend to change their job. Now, I touched upon this about the quiet quitting. These are people who would probably quit, but there are some factors that are going on in the economy, like the looming recession. There's been announcements of layoffs at some companies. And so a lot of people are saying, hey, I'm just going to stay here and I'm going to, start work at 8. I'm going to finish at 5. I'm going to do what's minimally necessary to get the job done. So there's a lot of quiet quitting that's happening. Now, there's still a tremendous war on great talent. And these are the latest statistics that you need to be aware of. There's 11.3 million open jobs, and there's only 5.9 million people who are unemployed. And what I would tell you for the most part is that all of the A players and the B players, a lot of them, majority of them, they're already working at great companies. So when you think about where are companies getting their talent from, they're actually looking at other companies and they're poaching their A players. So one of the things that I really want you to think about after you get off this call too is taking a look and making sure that you have those connections with all of your A players, because those other companies aren't coming for your C players. They're coming for your A and your B players. So there's still this tremendous great war on talent. And then fifth, there's new leadership skills that are needed. And I want to walk through what it looks like today versus what it looked like in a traditional office. So as an example, in a traditional office, the managers and the CEOs, they would have different roles and different skills that they would need. In the traditional office, it was Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. It was about employee attendance and dictating specific work that needs to be done for the team or for the employees. When we go to a hybrid work, it's about performance-based deliverables and allowing employees to really work on a flexible schedule that they determine. In the traditional office, it was about watching the workers get the work done and having everyone in the office for every single activity. And in hybrid, it's about how do I trust the workers to get the work done? And then how do I, as a leader, check in to support and problem solve? In the traditional office, it was about expecting employees to be in the office every single day, regardless of the work they were doing. And then here in the hybrid, it's about the office is more for collaboration, innovation, team building, and problem solving. And actually having employees work remotely if they're doing individual tasks so that they can be more productive. In the traditional office, it was about the leadership skills and the tools that you had to build relationships that were more done spontaneously during gatherings or coffee breaks, impromptu meetings. In hybrid, you have to be really intentional about this. It's about leveraging digital means to, make sure people stay connected, engaged, and aligned, and making sure that you're fostering collaboration and teamwork. And then in the traditional office, it was about conducting annual reviews to evaluate performance. And now it shifted to weekly one-on-ones and check-ins to track progress. So if you take a look at, these two columns, you can see there's a different skill set that's needed for managers and leaders of the traditional office versus the hybrid office. And here's what I can share with you. This just came out 3 days ago from Gallup. They said there's 3 levels in the organization. There's the top level, that's 85% engaged. And then there's the bottom level. Below that is 15% engaged. But what they said is that the level that's struggling the most is this level right here. It's the management level, because they don't have all the skills, all the tools, all the leadership talent that they need right now to help lead in this new disruptive world where they have people working remote. Sometimes they're in the office, sometimes they're not. So they are the most stressed when they did an analysis of which layer is having the biggest problem with hybrid work. And we believe it's because they just don't have the skills and the tools yet to help make them successful. All right, so those are the 5 big challenges that we're seeing. Let's get into the top 3 fast attack leadership keys that you can implement immediately. And if you're already implementing them, then this is fantastic. It's just a reminder to you. We're going to start off and go backwards. So we're going to start with number 3. Number 3 is there's 4 rituals that we recommend that you put in place so you can communicate. Number 1 is a daily meeting, daily 15-minute stand-up meeting. So make sure that you're continuing to do that so you can communicate at speed. That's one of the rituals. Second ritual is all hands meetings. Now we recommend you do a monthly all hands meeting when times are sort of normal. And when you have it in place, I remember working with companies and indicating to them that during the deepest days of COVID, that it was important to move your all hands meeting from monthly down to weekly. And then slowly as things got better and leveled out, we had them go to once every 2 weeks and now back to once every month. Employees want to hear from their senior leaders. Monthly all hands meeting is about 25 minutes long. Tremendous impact that it can give for your organization. And then the third ritual that you have to do is really monthly one-on-ones. Monthly one-on-ones, these are 15, 20 minutes long with each of your employees. And you're sitting there and listening to them, what they're really excited about, what their challenges are, and you're trying to help them and coach and mentor and teach them. So those are 3 of the 4 rituals. Now, the final one is to be able to do a work from home survey. So what I'm going to do is, and Anya, help me out here if we're having a struggle with the challenges. This is a good work from home survey that you can use, and you can use it for people who are working from home, 2 or 3 days a week. But this is what you should ask. If you go to menti.com again, and you go to put the code in 72, you don't have to put the code in if you've already done it, but I just want you to answer this, from your perspective, and then you can use this with your employees to get an understanding of whether they have everything that they need to be successful as they're working from home. So Anya, is it open?
Still the previous question again. So whatever you did last time to make it move forward.
Make it move forward. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just do this. How about now?
Perfect.
Awesome. All right, so just take this from your perspective. These are just some great questions that you can ask. All right, the last couple ones are coming in. You can see what people voted. And again, it's less of to give you insights and feedback, but you can see how this feedback could be helpful. And then we can see what the average is. All right, we got to work on some work-life. This group's got to work on some work-life balance, looks like. We got a 2.8 down there. Okay. So I wanted us to go through that so you can have an understanding of how to use that, and it's just a really powerful way to continue to communicate. All right. So that was number 3. There's 4 rituals that you should put in place, and we just went through those. So let's go from 3. Let's go down to 2. It's really about setting up your hybrid space and having hybrid tools. One of them is about having a redesigned office. And what I would recommend that you have inside of your company is a return to office task force or a hybrid task force. And this consists of people in all different parts of your company, and they get to have input into this. Now, it's really more about having spaces that are hoteling and open floor spaces. And I think it's really important that you share the why behind the drive. And what I mean by that is, before COVID, I got up in the morning, I showered, I put makeup on, I got real clothes on, I got in the car, I drove to the office, and there was a reason why I drove there. And then on the end of the day, I had to drive back home. And people have been working remotely, and they're like, hey, it's working fine. So why should I make the drive? And it has to be more in and around camaraderie, connection, and culture with people. And so make sure you share the why. This is probably one of the most important bullet points of these 4 that are here. Share the why behind the drive. And just make sure that employees are feeling comfortable and safe. And when you do the return to office or the hybrid task workforce, they're gonna help to put that together to make sure employees all across your company feel comfortable. So redesigning, looking at the space and redesigning it. Number 2 is make sure you're surveying your employees. We just had you go through one survey, but your task force might go through another survey. And I'm going to go through each of these questions because I think they're actually in a really good order. Anya will put this in the chat. We'll send this out to you afterwards too. But these are great questions. Pre-COVID, how many days of the week did you work from the office? What's your biggest concern about hybrid work or returning to the office? What have you most enjoyed about working from home? What's been your biggest challenge when you've been working from home? Do you think your productivity increased, decreased, or stayed the same while working from home? What are you looking forward most to about your time in the office or returning to the office? Which activities do you expect to do when returning to the office or when you're in the office? Has work from home increased or decreased your ability to collaborate with your team? And you have to put this here, if given the opportunity, not would you prefer, just say it, given the opportunity, would you prefer to keep working from home permanently? How many days do you think we should be in the office in the future? And then what types of events are successful creating engagement and culture in a hybrid environment? So these are great questions to ask and get a temperature of where people are at. So that's one. Here's another set of questions. And again, we'll put this in the chat and again, follow up with these in a PDF. Why does this team exist? What are our goals for this team? What's in it for you to be part of the team? What work do we achieve together? What meetings and tools do we need to collaborate? What are our goals for working in the office together, what are encouraged, discouraged behaviors, and to reach our goals, which types of meetings and what type of work do you like to do in person and how often? So I always, Stephen Covey said, where there's participation, there's buy-in. And by asking our employees these series of questions, we can get a temperature and a feel. And I think it's a great thing to do. And it doesn't cost that much to do. So really look at surveying your employees. When we talk about hybrid space, I want to talk to you about digital tools. I know a lot of you are leveraging Microsoft Teams and you're using Zoom to be impactful in meetings and collaborate on projects. You might also be using Slack. And then I know a lot of you that are on the deep dive right now are using Lead with Purpose, but that's the tool that you're leveraging so that you can create an E3 culture where everyone's connected, engaged, and aligned, and communicating at speed regardless of where they're working. So Lead with Purpose is a fantastic digital tool that's helping you to do that. So that's the second thing that you really need to take a look at, this hybrid space, making sure it's set up and all the tools you need so you can communicate at speed. All right, so I don't know, is there a drum roll on you or anything? Number one, you guys, the company's name, Lead with Purpose. So what we want you to do, number one, is make sure you're having a fantastic employee experience. And it's about reconnecting everyone to the inspiring story. So what's your brand purpose? What are your values? What is your blue sky vision? You should know those. Everybody in your company should know those. Now, why is it important? 94% of employees rank purpose and culture as a number one factor when they're looking for a place to go work. So this should give you incentive to make sure that your brand purpose, your values, and your vision are super clear, and that everybody understands it. The big thing is, and I was shocked by this, that leaders are struggling to actually do this. 86% of leaders say that engaged employees are extremely important. But then when asked, what are you doing to engage the employees? A staggering 71% said, I don't know exactly what I need to do. And so it's like, hey, wow. And we've known this for years. And so what I want to make sure that all of you understand on this call is that for reconnecting to your inspiring story, we have opened up the first course of E1, which is how to create a brand purpose or your mission statement. We've opened that up and it's actually free. So if you're struggling as a leader, you can go sign into Lead with Purpose and you have access to this course to take a look at. And if you're already on the platform and you have your employees connected to it, they can watch these videos too. Even if they haven't been in the initial trainings that I've given, I am speaking into a camera, giving you an example of what different brand purposes are, why they're important. So I highly recommend that you take advantage of that. Now, here's a couple of important things. Mission, people knowing the mission equals retention. Those who feel a strong sense of belonging to something bigger than themselves, 83% state they intend to stay more than 5 years. Mission equals resilience and agility. They found that highly resilient, highly adaptable, very agile teams, those people, they state that they have 2 times more feeling of connectedness to purpose at work. So people who feel a purpose, there's a lot more resilience and agility. I know this is a key thing that teams are trying to incorporate and infuse into their teams. Okay, and then the last thing is, as it relates to employee experience, you have to be looking at professional development. What's the training? What's the skills? What's the tools that every employee needs? If you want to retain your employees, share with them that, hey, we're going to input into you. And they're going to say, hey, they are investing in me, and not only for now, but for the future. So definitely want you to take a look at also professional development. All right. So these are the fast attack leadership keys that you need to take a look at: employee experience, hybrid space and tools, and then 3 rituals to connect. I'm going to go through a quick example here. A certified financial group, about a 40-person firm in Florida. We went through and did an analysis. This is what their boat looked like. They had 2 people rowing in the wrong direction, 3 people sometimes rowing, and 5 people not rowing so well. They had a wage loss, a return on engagement wage loss of minus $186,000. They went through and did these 3 keys as they were going through COVID. They got everyone fully connected to the mission, to the vision, to the values. They got them really clear. And we had them take a test before, the alignment test before, and then the alignment test after. And you can see just the brand purpose went from 17% up to 100%. They also went in and redesigned their workspaces to be more open. And they leveraged a lot of the digital tools that were there. And then they use Lead with Purpose as a professional development tool to tell people that, hey, we're pouring into you to help you become better leaders. The results, fantastic. While Gallup went down, the average Gallup company went down 4%. They were able to buck that trend and they went up 16%. And they actually increased the amount of money that from the return on engagement by $105,000. And this is what their boat went from, and it went to this. And the key thing about this is that no one left the company. So just doing these 3 key simple things, they were able to take everybody that was in what it looked like at the top boat there, they were able to turn it down to the bottom boat. The positive wage impact was tremendous. All right, so that's an example. I'm going to open up the questions right now. So what questions do people have? Let me make sure my chat's fully up. All right, so what questions, type your questions in there. Any question you have? What questions do you have? All right, so here's a question from John. John says, what if I don't want to go to hybrid work? What if you don't want to go to hybrid work? Okay, so the statistics are that 85% of employees are looking for a situation where they can have hybrid work. So you can certainly not go to hybrid work, but I think you're gonna have less of a talent pool to pull from. So just be aware that that's going to happen. I had a CEO who said, hey, we're going to be fully on site. We had 8 great candidates and all 8 of them declined the job. And this was candidate after candidate. We thought we had them full, great fit. No, we don't offer any type of work. So just be aware of that. Susan, what are the most important pieces to think through when shifting to a fully remote workforce as a leader? Yeah, I would totally be against you shifting to fully remote. I just don't believe you can build an extremely strong E3 culture by being fully remote. And so I would just be concerned when you have everyone remote, there's not those connections that people have to each other and to the team. And so someone calls up and says, hey, I'm going to offer you another $5,000. They're a lot more likely to switch than not. So I would highly recommend to stay against fully remote. Okay, what else do we have here? Okay, how do I handle, this is from John again. How do I handle full-time? I have part of my company. Yeah, part of the company is full-time manufacturing. They have to be in the office. And then I have like marketing and some customer service who have been able to deliver in a hybrid environment. I don't know. I would shift more to, I'm going to have everyone full-time, but I don't think there's a hard and fast rule here. So just take a look at your specific situation. I think it's sort of hard to come into the office and on Monday and Friday, only half the team's there. And it's the people who are working there who have to be there. I think there would build up some resentment for the other people not being there. And Tesla's CEO, basically said, hey, look, you can work remote, but you got to work 40 hours in the office. So I would really take a look at that. Okay, and then
also, if you're having a hard, sorry, Mark, if you're having a hard time putting stuff in the chat, you can also put it into the Q&A function. And Mark, if you open up your Q&A function too, just so that people have a chance to put some, I know we're getting questions, but some questions in there as well.
Okay. Okay. Hold on just a second. in the Q&A, Anya?
Yep, just wanted to make sure that everyone knew that that's another place that they could input their questions if they can't put them in the chat.
I'm glad you said that because someone put one in there. So thank you. Sorry about that. Do I have to offer a hybrid option? Again, you don't have to offer a hybrid option. I think a similar question that was asked earlier. You don't have to offer a hybrid model, but just know that you're gonna 85% of the people are looking for that, employees. And then the final one here is, if you're going to offer hybrid, do I do flexible days or do I do dedicated days? This is a great question. A lot of times people say, hey, you have to spend 2 days in the office or 3 days in the office. Do you dedicate those days or do you allow employees to choose? And I've seen all different types of models here. I think probably one of the best ones is, hey, maybe if there's 3 days in the office, Tuesday and Thursday, everyone has to be in the office. And then the flexibility is that you can, people can choose the third day that they're in the office. But there's all different types of options that are there. I like the dedicated days because then everybody's there. Everybody knows they're going to be there. You can do some team functions. You can do some collaboration and really get connected. All right. So that looks like it. All right, so here's the thing. There's some, it's really disruptive world. Again, I wish I had all the answers for you. I'm figuring this out as we go along too. We think we have our finger on the pulse of it, have a pretty good understanding. If you are looking at other support, we have our leadwithpurpose.com/events. And you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn.